video about how I was supposed to stay in Poland for 3 months, but now I ended up here for over a year. So let's jump into that. I haven't actually been able to sit down and make content in a way that I want, just because that the videos that I was uploading previously, I was kind of contractually obligated to upload videos in a certain way and of a certain type. But now I have, free reign, and that's also why I haven't posted in a while, is because I'm not forced to anymore. Now I think I'm in a place where I can start uploading again, making content again. And I thought I would sit down and tell you kind of a little bit about me and actually what I think about Poland and how I've come to be here even after I was supposed to go quite a while ago. So let's start with that. So my original plan with Poland was that it was just a kind of stopping over point. I was going to just be here in my mind for 3 months to 4 months. So even my first apartment that I got, I was on a short-term lease, and I let my landlords know that, I'm not gonna be here this long. So, I intended to go elsewhere after being here for a short time. I was applying to jobs kind of all over the place. I applied to jobs in Taiwan and Thailand and South Korea and in Ukraine. And I actually got pretty far into the interview into the interviews for those paths. Then I actually put them on hold. So they were like making these offers to me. And I said, actually, Kim and I kind of push this until later in the year, and we can kind of make contact again and go from there. And they were all kind of cool about it. They were just like, yeah, sure, I understand, no problem. Let's just make contact again in, 4 or 5 months down the line. It's like, great. I got everything in order, got my visa, came here to Poland, for a reason that I will reveal in a later video. So I came here and I technically didn't have a job when I arrived here. I was going to get one when I came, but I had saved up money, and so my intention was that I will live off this money that I have saved up mainly, even though I know the work here is kind of slow. So because I didn't think I would be here this long. And let's talk about why I kind of have fallen in love with this country. So one thing that surprised me, especially in my small city, because I'm not in Warsaw or Kraków, a bigger city. I'm in a city called Lublin, and it's kind of like a university city. And they get students from a lot of different places around the world. So the first thing that surprised me was the diversity. I was not expecting to see people that look like me at all. I thought I'd be the only Black girl in the village kind of thing. So when I was seeing Black people around, I was like, hi! And I got a lot of weird reactions. Some were friendly, like, hey, hi, hello, happy, smiling. But then others were kind of just like, why are you waving at me? Or just kind of like, hi. So it was very starting to get awkward. And I realized quickly that it was getting awkward because it was not an anomaly to run into other Black people in this city. There's a decent number of us here. So I realized okay, I can't go around waving hello to everyone all the time. So I stopped doing that. But it still makes me happy to see that this city is quite diverse. And the other thing is Polish people are actually quite very warm and kind and friendly people coming to Poland. To be honest, I didn't really know much about Poland. I lived in Germany when I was a kid, and they're neighbors. So yeah. So I remember they would have excursions that people could do to nearby countries, and one of the countries was Poland. And the thing that they said about Poland is, the base moms, the military moms, they liked coming to Poland because they wanted to buy Polish pottery. And my mom talked about buying Polish pottery as well. And so that's kind of what was in my head, what I knew about Poland, Polish pottery. And then the other thing I had in my head was really just a stereotype that I had heard, that Polish people are kind of distant, cold, standoffish people. They're not very happy. They're kind of grumpy people. So that was the thing that I had in my head. And I just assumed that that was what I was going to experience. I think in America, we have this obligation of if people see us, strangers see us, we have to put on this face even if we're not feeling that way, like we have to smile, ask them about their day, seem friendly, seem open. But we're not those things really, you know, because we don't know them. And so I think as an American coming to Poland, it can be a bit jarring because you don't see that same thing here. So it might seem like the people are grumpy, but they're not. And so one thing that I noticed was like, as I was having these meetups with people, like going random, like, hi, we're strangers, but I'd like to get to be friends with you meetup. One thing that I kept thinking was, oh, like, this is a really deep conversation, a super deep conversation. It's like you cut through the fluff of it all and you get to really trying to understand who this person is on a deeper level. And I was thinking that all the time, like back to back, like this was such a good, like I felt so energized because I'm really like truly an introverted person. But what I was noticing was like, no, I feel like energized after this conversation. Like I want to have another one. I want to meet more people and talk to them on this level. It was such a, yeah, it was just a good conversations, good chats with people that I left walking away from those conversations just feeling quite pleasant that I was able to connect with another person in that way. The other thing that I like about Poland is the spring and the summer. So I think people, when I was telling people I was coming to Poland, they were like, oh my God, it's gonna be so cold there. Well, the two things. One, they would be like, isn't Poland racist? And the second thing that I heard was like, Poland's going to be so cold. So yeah, it was cold when I got here. I got here in March last year and it was quite cold. I remember like feeling like I was freezing every time I went outside, and it was snowing in March. It was snowing in April. I was just like, okay, is it going to be springtime yet? And then finally spring came, and especially at that time because the regulations were being lifted from COVID. And so a lot of people were coming out, you know, restaurants were opening, people were starting to do things. And this town, especially during the summer, because it is like a student town, during the summer, a lot of students leave. And so for economic reasons, they need to draw people in the summer because they don't have people here spending like when school was in session for the students. So they have like a lot of festivals in the summer. So that was really nice. Like every week was a different type of festival, a jazz festival, traditional crafts, music, art, acrobatic, what do you call them? There's like a tightrope festival here. They're like known for it. And people come from all of like specialists come from all over the world to do this tightrope. And like when you're walking around, you'll just like see people walking from building to building on a tiny rope. Super cool to see. And so that feeling is like, when you think about Europe and that view that you get, like movie picture perfect Europe, that's what happens in the spring and summer, because we have these patios that are out front of the restaurants and they really look beautiful. They have flowers everywhere. People are relaxing, having a glass of wine, having dinner, lunch, and just walking around and enjoying the day casually. And I think in America, we don't get that experience because we love cars. And so we can't have like restaurants have all this nice setup in front because we need to make room for the cars and we need to make room for parking lots. So it just looks different. It doesn't look as lived in, like for people. It's not pedestrian friendly. And that I realize is something that I've gotten into recently. Like I've gotten into watching a lot of videos about how we can make cities more people friendly and people centered. And I think Europe does that very well. The point is, is that I didn't realize how much I needed to see that. Like something about it is very therapeutic for me, how affordable everything is. So as I just mentioned, it still is this like Europe that I think Americans have in their mind of like what Europe is, but it's much more affordable. So especially when I first got here, as I said, I was living off of money that I had saved up, which was US dollars. So my dollar was going quite far. And so in my head, I was just thinking like, oh, so this is only such and such US dollars. I'm gonna get this and this, and I'm gonna buy this, and I'm gonna go to this restaurant and travel here and do this and do that. So I was going through my money very quickly, but I should have kept in my mind that I'm working and getting paid in zloty, in the Polish currency. So I need to manage that a bit better. So it took a long time for my mindset to switch, especially because in August I went back home and I had to take care of some things, and also that took a hit. My finances took a hit as well during that time because of the things I had to take care of. So when I came back, I didn't have as much disposable income as before. So I was relying more on my paycheck. And then that's when I realized that I get paid in Polish dollars, not US dollars. So in that case, I kind of screwed myself over. But still to say, I'm able to live comfortably now, especially now because I have more of a steady job. I'm able to live comfortably here in a nice apartment, and I'm in the center of the city. I'm still able to live a nice lifestyle here. And it's much more affordable for me. Yeah, so you still get what you think of as Europe, but on a much cheaper level. My camera stopped recording, so I don't know where it left off. I guess I will talk about maybe one last thing that I like about living in Poland, and it's just a personal thing for me because since I've been here, I've been able to explore my hobbies and interests more. So if you know me, you know that I'm into theater and film and acting. I just enjoy that stuff, learning about it, the craft in general. When I was in South Korea, I met some great people, and we kind of started a theater troupe together, and it was really cool because we were just creating things that we wanted to perform and then practicing them and then putting the final production out to the rest of the community. So it was that was probably the best part of me living in South Korea, and being able to be around such a creative group of people. And when I went to the US, I was in California, and I was thinking, oh, maybe I can explore that a little bit more, but I really just didn't have the time for it or the mental capacity to do something for myself like that. So it was nice to come here. I have more free time, and in general, I just feel more relaxed and sound within my mind and spirit. So last summer, I decided to take an actor's workshop. And in this workshop, I got to meet some really cool people, and I learned a lot from the instructor and from the rest of the people that were also in the group. I happened to see on Facebook, there was a post that was looking for people, and I was like, okay, why not? I'm taking my class, my instructor's building my confidence up, so I am going to just production. And I was like, okay, whatever, I put myself out there. And so I actually got an email back, and I was like, oh, wow. Cool. And it was a pretty big company, which I'm forgetting the name now, but there's some kind of pharmaceutical company, and I had a really tiny part. So I went on the set, and I had to go all the way to Warsaw for this, and they put me up in a hotel. It was great, and it was really just me pointing at a screen. I don't know what happened with that production, to be honest. Actually, they paid for my hotel, they paid for some other things, my expenses, but I never actually got paid for my day on set. But I kind of didn't even care, which I should, because I learned so much. It was my first time actually being on a set with all the bells and whistles, and inside I was geeking out, but on the outside I had to contain myself because I didn't want to come across as a noob. But I did meet some cool people, and the woman who was working in wardrobe, she connected me with her husband, who has a production company in Warsaw. And through them, I've been able to do 2 other projects, and also learn a lot and meet a lot of cool people who are just so inspiring and so cool to watch them do their work. So I have been able to just learn so much through that process. And so for me, that is also a bonus that I'm able, not just because I have the time, but as I said, I have a different state of mind here where I'm able to pursue my passions. So overall, that is how my original 3-month intention of being in Poland has now turned into over a year. And to be honest, I can see it continuing for longer than what it has been already. I have actually started a company here in Poland, my own company. I never thought that I would be someone who's running a business, but I kind of just fell into it, and now I really would like to see where it goes and how it grows. And it was a simple process, but a really complicated process. So I could make a video about that, how I did that, if you would be interested in learning about how I was able to, come here and set up my company. And now I am in the process of legalizing my stay through that business. So if you're more into really learning like how you can come here legally and live here, then I can definitely make a video about that. That's where I am now. It's been great. I can really get restless after being in a place for like 2 years, and now it's like over a year. But to be honest, when I think about the other places that I could have gone, and those jobs did reach back out to me after 4 or 5 months, and they were just like, hey, we're just checking in. Are you still interested in continuing this process? And I was debating in my head, like, what do I do? But it was really kind of an easy decision because I feel so comfortable and content here in Poland, and I don't really see myself living somewhere else where I would feel better than I feel now. Also, I think Poland is starting to become more within people's consciousness because of, unfortunately, everything that is going on with our neighbors in Ukraine. But it was really, truly inspiring to see how pretty much everyone in Poland, Polish people have really stepped up without any kind of reservation or hesitation to help those people in need. And I think that's another thing that makes me feel good about staying here, and just another like testament to how great the Polish people are. So I think overall people are starting to take more of an interest in Poland, and it's being talked about more than previously, at least in the US and among people that I know. I think it would be good for me to kind of continue to make videos for people who are growing that interest, and Americans and people who maybe want to consider coming here as well. I hope I can contribute in my own little way of just telling people more about this country and why I like living here. So yeah, that's it. I can go in more depth about those other topics. Just let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.